Laemy never comes forward and said we don't need capital.
No cap. To be capped up.
9 o'clock on the dot, no you should check me. Here for an hour, I promise this talk is heavy. I'm cooking, just getting started, don't go asking if it's ready. I'll be damned like we bout to break a levee. I sweat all of this content, push my conscience to a beautiful dark, twisted fantasy. I'm a monster, my posture looking like we was winning Oscars. Far from an act, but still acting like we got sponsors. Define us by the work we do, you know the work of few. Willing to get down in the trenches for the perfect view. So if you at me, then be sure to mention purpose too. And alignment, we own it, far from consignment. I seen the light, it was blind, to contribute this all the time. Let it breathe till you find it. Get fresh, then set the table for guests. I told you that we was cooking, this compliments to the chef. Let's go. Good morning, creators, and welcome to another episode of Cooking the Late Night. I am your host, Cook, and as always, I'm here for you guys another Tuesday to make sure that we got over the weekend, right? There's a lot of things that happen, a lot of things going on in the world, but guess what? We bite. As always, as a creative community, we are making sure that we are here to push the envelope forward, because as always, the future is going to be created AF. With that said, I'm excited because I have a special guest here with me tonight. My guy Lay is in the building, and this episode is a little close to heart. I'm going to show you why a little bit later on in the show. But before we get into that, as always, it's time to cook up. So, we're going to tap in with my guy, Chris Hunt. How you feeling out there, my guy?
What's going on, peeps? It's your guy Chris Hunt here. I think this is my 4th time being on the show, but I just want to say thank you to Marcus Cook for providing this platform for creatives to actually showcase their talent. So, I'm looking forward to creating tonight. So catch you guys on the flip side. All right.
Good. All right. Well, look, Hunt, you bringing the heat from New York. I'm gonna bring the heat from the district. But speaking of heat, I got the hot guy himself here, man. Lay, please introduce yourself to the people.
You're far too kind. I go by Lay. Most people know me as Lay. I'm Laemy Darisme. Darisme, actually, my fiance will kill me. 1/2 of the Lilac District, a member of the Ing Society. Always repping the rich family. That nigga, but maybe not that nigga that you know of, so.
But he is, you are, and I kind of want you to start this, like, you reference those, particular groups and organizations you're a part of. Like, how do you find your time to just be a part of these different factions? Like, how do you actually apply yourself in all this stuff?
I mean, I feel like it sounds like it's work, but it's really not work. These are just all facets of who I am. You know what I mean? Like, Ing Society is a bond of brotherhood. It's the guys that love to collab and create, but these are the people that charge me up. That's the backbone to my creativity. Yeah. The Lilac District is just a natural union between my fiance and I. We have big visions for how we want to impact the world creatively, and that's our outlet to do so. And any other entity that I'm part of, like for instance, Rich, that's my kin. That's bro. He's officiating my wedding. So at the end of the day, that's a bond that it doesn't feel like work. So when you ask me how am I able to be a part of all these different things, these are all people that I consider family. So it's like how do I make time for family? Family's just family. You always make time for family.
Yeah, and like when you talk about making time for family, like you don't just mean like family. Like I met them the other day and asked the bro. Like we're talking depth. Like let's just we're talking like years, right? Like my guy here, Mr. Bell, you got that, but then you also have just again we're talking years of a relationship of just building with someone. And so for you, how have you been able to, because I think this is just an amazing space that you're in, evolve and grow with, like your friendships grow as you grow up. Like how are you guys all moving that manner?
Damn, that is heavy. And it's funny, like the pictures that you showed, I was not expecting that. You're right, it has been years. But I don't know, I think I know that my role as a man is to serve, right? I serve my fiance, I serve my people, I serve. So naturally, I'm like, I like to think of myself as a point guard. Like, I like to facilitate the offense, so the offense might run through me. So I think naturally by being around me, not to talk shit, but like, because I'm going to be unapologetic about pursuing my ambitions, if you have any ounce of wanting to be ambitious, you're going to feed off of that. We're going to feed off each other. So any relationship that grows alongside with me, you have to have that with me. Like, that's unfortunate. A lot of the relationships that I feel like fell to the wayside is not because no one lost, it's because they couldn't see the forest from the trees. And that's no knock on them. We just have different ideas for what we're trying to accomplish. And any relationship that's grown alongside with me through the years has an appetite that needs to be fed.
And I love that analogy. I actually view you as a point guard. Like I've seen you run point a couple times, but let's talk about your core. Like as a creative, like how did you get started in this whole creative space?
Man, that's a long-winded answer, but
we've got a little bit of time.
Yeah, no, for sure. Now I do love giving the story out because I was just like briefing before. I'm a big nerd. Like a lot of people see me as this cool guy. Again, I know that sounds like arrogant, but the reality is I'm a big time nerd. Like the reason why I got into designing was because I wanted to recreate my own Pokemon game. Right. When I was younger, I wasn't allowed to leave the house, so I had to just stay on the computer. So I would just surf Pokemon forums, CRV.net, and then had like a Final Fantasy freaking user login name. And I saw people creating fan art, and I was like, oh, that's super dope. And I saw people creating sprite art. And for those who don't know, sprites are like character models, but not necessarily 3, but 2-bit character models, 8-bit character models. And if you ever played a Pokemon or Nintendo, like those character models that, those pixel art that you see, those are sprite designs. So I just started recreating sprite designs with the whole idea of like, I'm going to create a Pokemon game from the ground up. That shit was very hard to do.
It sounded better than it executed, but it was an idea.
Yeah, it was an idea. So I started doing fan fiction, I started writing all the stories, started designing my own characters, and then in the end, what I ended up doing was like, I can't code, I'm not going to code, but I fell in love with designing. And then thankfully, I just had people in my back corner that really championed, like, oh shit, you're kind of cool at this. Yeah. Like my brother and Carl was a member of Magnet, was a member of the Ink Society, were like, hey shit, keep running with this. So then I would design like club flyers for them because they were DJing and throwing parties, and they were sneaking into a couple different sessions here and there, and then we just kind of grew from there. I went into high school, not having any idea that I could do this for a living, digital art. But I was in a ceramics class, and then when I was doing horrible in class. Like all I was trying to do was just talk to ladies in the class. Like I thought it was cool, but like I was an ass. And then my teacher pulls me aside one day and was just like, I can tell you're creative. You're a very bright kid. Like you charm the whole class. Everyone loves you. But ceramics is not for you. So what is for you? And I was like, well, I like doing digital art. She's like, oh, okay, show me your work. And I showed her the work. And she's like, well, you don't like me. Like, you do digital art. So, like, she, thankfully to the art teachers I had in high school, they all kind of made a fake curriculum and snuck me into a classroom pretty much like, just cook, like, just do, no pun intended.
Hey, that's what you had to do.
They're right. They're like, look, you're far better than our what we can offer here. So all we want you to do is just spend time in here and continue to work on your craft, and we'll just make a program for you. And then my brother introduced me to his line brother at the time, who was like interning for Mercedes and about to become a senior designer for Mercedes as coming out of being a freshman out of college, a sophomore out of college. So he taught me, he's like, yeah, I'm making $70K a year on design. I was like, what? He's like, how much? I know a lot of people are like, well, $70K, but you gotta understand, like, I was not even, at the time that I was like a sophomore in high school, I was like, $70,000 a year to do what I'm doing now?
Well, a little great
shit.
Like, I was going to take 20 somewhere.
Fam, I was just gonna do this, and I was told people I was gonna be a neurosurgeon because I felt like I had to impress people because, like, I always wanted to be an artist, but like, I'm Haitian, so my parents were not trying to hear all that. They're like, yeah, that's cute, but like, make money.
Yeah.
So
I mean, let's touch on that though. Like, what was it like to like at what point did had your parents taking your career seriously and what you do?
Last year.
Because that's a conversation, right? I mean, most families who tend to come from just anywhere outside the U.S. into this country, they come with a determination of being top in something like scientists, lawyers, doctors, like these big careers. But here you are, Pokemon, like now I'm just trying to catch them all. Like, how did you go and like either groom them to accept who you are, or do it by any means?
I think it was a shock to the system. Like, I can't say that I ever like convinced them. It was more so in high school. I also started interning for an art studio, and right out of high school, I got a graphic design position. And I was still convincing myself and convincing the world that I wanted to go to school for this, because I did want to go to school for this. But the truth of the matter is, I didn't take school seriously until it was far too late. And though I had a GPA, it was cool enough GPA, and then I started being an honor student like my junior year in high school. But like the art schools that I wanted to get into, they're like, your portfolio's fire. They accepted me off my portfolio, and then they saw my GPA, my cumulative GPA, and said, no, you need to sit your ass down for a year and come back to us.
Wow. And
so, that was a harsh reality to digest. But then I think for my parents, I don't know, man. I really can't say what is convincing. I think they just finally stopped asking me when I'm gonna stop going back to school. Like, I started making more money than my mom. Like, when I got my first real position, I was like, oh shit, this is more money than my parents have seen. So I was like, I thought I made it, right?
Yeah.
But for them, the concern was like, all right, well, what if the economy fails, right?
Sure.
What if this, like, what is this, like, they could not get it in their head. And I think it took me living on my own. And it's funny, I was paying bills, and they still were like, all right, when you go back to school. But I think when I started, like, not really needing them, and they were really more reliant on me, and I think it was last year I was telling my mom, like, this is a couple things I was looking, like, I think it was Broccoli Fest, right? I was like, yeah, look, mom, if you want to come to see this is a cool thing. And she's like, oh, so you really not going to school? I was like, no, I'm not.
And let's reference this, right? Because you were part of this design, this flyer design, which is fire. Like, I mean, talk about like just this opportunity. What did this actually mean to, like, we're not gonna glaze over you got a Broccoli City Fest flyer. Like, well, that's a bit of a milestone.
Now it's a super milestone, but I can't speak to that without giving a lot of that credit to my fiance. For those who don't know, my fiance is Mom Lynn, one half of the Lilac District, and really is like the backbone for me as a man. I'm not gonna lie, I'd be like a feeble little walking man child if it wasn't for her. But the crazy thing about Broccoli, it was really her and I sitting down and manifesting, right? Like, we joined up with this party called Everything Nice, and we both were like, look, we're gonna do, because she hated nightlife, right? She dominated nightlife, and I was like, I'm kind of tired of this. It's not the scene I want to be in. And I was like, no, please, like, look what you were able to do in nightlife. Now I'm gonna come and join you, and we're gonna kill this shit.
Yeah.
But like, the reason why we're gonna kill this shit, not because we want to throw parties, is because we need to have a proof of concept. Something what you're doing here, we're like, if we can make an event poppin' and bring the people we want to be at these events, take notes of these events, we can use that as a portfolio to break into any door. And we'll do Broccoli Fest. And we'll do Trilectro. That was the two marquee names that were like, we'll do both of these things by way of Everything Nice. Yeah. So then we started cooking up on Everything Nice. And she already had built a relationship with the Broccoli folks through like a couple graphics here and there. But it was really how much we killed the DC nightlife like flyer and art direction game. I think we revolutionized it, and they took notice and like, y'all are, and what they didn't realize is that they just thought we were doing Everything Nice. But then they knew her from doing Feel Good. And then once they had a conversation, it's like, well, you're doing Joy Club? You're doing Adolfo? You're doing... Yeah, you're out here. So this is all y'all? And we were like, yeah. Oh, no question. We just come be our creative partners. And it's really, they threw us... I forget what was it. There was a festival called Food and Brews that was supposed to happen here. And for whatever reason, it didn't happen. But that was their trial phase of let's see if it would work with them. We knocked that out of the park. And from then on, they're like, yo, you guys are our creative partners. So anything that we're doing, we're just throwing it through you guys first.
That's so fun, and I'm so upset. I owe y'all at home an apology because I had everything queued up and everything nice to show to you all today, but it seems as though it didn't transfer over to my iPad today, so that's on me. But let me tell you from a first-hand experience, everything nice is the event you go to. When outside was open, when outside was fully open and you can be close to people, it was an experience. To me personally, I don't like parties. I don't like clubs. I'm vertically challenged. I get lost in crowds easily, and I never have friends. And so, I found myself going just off the strength of you guys, to be honest with you. And I mean, you talk about an experience, we're talking about cereal box flyers, and then when you get there, there's cereal that matches that. You guys were actually taking this interactive, this engagement journey and making it a party. And that's what I truly appreciated about it. So, and then you guys had playlists that match. You had all this. And so while with all this happening, unfortunately, we all understand what happened with the pandemic and things slowing down a little bit. How have you guys, just in terms of field landscape, just looked at what you built so far and what may be next for it?
That's probably one of my biggest weaknesses is taking inventory of what we've accomplished, right? Because I feel like everyone in the Everything Nice crew, we set out to accomplish things. And I'm not going to say we got there all the way, but we started to taste success in what we sought out to get success from.
Sure.
And truthfully, we haven't really truly reflected on what we have accomplished. We know there's so much more to go, right? I keep mentioning Broccoli, but Broccoli was another milestone for the Everything Nice crew. We were supposed to be on that stage. We had conversations. I had spoken to the Broccoli folks, and they're like, "Look, we want you to produce a section of Broccoli City Music Festival." And I had an idea that I'm not going to go too detailed about, but let's just say I was allowed to create an experience that would be representative of what you're talking about, creating that spaces that people have known and grown to love from us, and inviting the people that we knew that value those types of experiences onto a stage. And it sucks that COVID knocked things out, but at the same time, it's a blessing in disguise because I look at what the guys are doing on Twitch, and they revolutionized how they are as DJs, and they're building an international following that is crazy. Bo is nasty on Twitch. Serrato's invited him out. I got Serrato key just from being on one of his Twitches, and K Meta, right before COVID hit, was the DJ to Toomey from YouTube. He was the DJ for his wedding, and they're both killing it. I can't speak enough to how much they're killing it. And I think I would love to think that Everything Nice was the launching pad for a lot of those successes. Not to say that they weren't building them beforehand, but it definitely helps. So.
No, I think it was a collective snapshot, right? It was sure, LeBron's good in Cleveland, but let's go Team USA. Let's put them all together, and now you're like, yo, he can ball. So you come back, it's like the contract changed a little bit. And I would say you guys had an Avenger-esque, forming. Everyone was performing well in their own. You guys had your own individual movies that did blockbuster numbers, but you guys came together and you really hit some things out of the park. And so, for you in this space, one of the bigger things that I'm curious about is how you, with so much being a family-based inspiration for you, the work that you do. How do you stay inspired and not get tired? Because it can be a drain, right? Like the same people that you like, yo, I need this done by, the same people like, yo, I'm coming over for dinner. How do you like balance that?
It's such an eerie question because I'm literally just asking like someone who I built a great relationship, a business relationship with. I was just on the phone and literally right before this was like, how do you stay inspired? How do you feel? How do you remain aspirational? Because I'm not gonna lie, I feel like my priorities and perspectives have shifted. So I'll answer that in 2 bits. Like the first bit is, again, it doesn't feel like work. Like sometimes it makes the blows that much more emotional because they're invested in these people, like beyond just business relationship. I wish I could just cut it off and be like, I don't care anymore, but like, nigga, I want to see you tomorrow. I love you literally. So like, when you're not on the same page with me, I take that to bed, and that does have its drawbacks, but at the same time, the successes taste that much more, and therefore it lasts so much longer, and it feels less like work. It feels more like purpose. But with but to that other point, how to remain so inspirational, like I'd love to say the answer is that if I don't get these things off, then I just don't feel validated as a person, because that's very much the truth. Like if I can't create, then I don't think I'm doing my purpose as a person. But the biggest issue that I've faced lately is that my perspectives have shifted. I feel a lot less ambitious as far as like I used to want to be this all-time art director / designer / creator that was like the man that you didn't know, but the person who really knew about. Sure. But I got engaged, and that's not even a bad thing. It's just I so much more love being a future husband that has shifted me radically. Like none of this shit really matters, because like at the end of the day, I go to bed with my fiance and she thinks I'm dope and I think she's super dope. Then why does any of this other stuff matter? Like, I have a hard time trying to inject myself with like, why was I doing that? Why did I care to do these things before? Like, oh, I'm just trying to create wealth and equity so my family can prosper, and so the people around me can prosper. Then all this other shit that I was so focused on, accolades and all this other stuff, is meaningless. So I don't know, I'm in a weird space myself internally. Like I question, like, because I only saw my self-worth as what I was able to accomplish. I've always been that guy at an early age. Like I was been that dope designer. I was always steps ahead of where I was supposed to be, and I let that validate who I was, inform who I was. So there was a point in time where I was like getting all these, celebrity covers, artist covers. I was in all these different rooms. I was in all these different label situations, and I surrounded myself with people who valued those successes. And then, for one reason or another, I just felt like this wasn't really feeding me anymore. And I drew back, and I stopped posting. I was still doing the work, but I just stopped posting on social media, and all those people kind of migrated, and it made me go through like an existential crisis. I was kind of depressed. Like, me and my girl weren't working at the time, and so it was a situation like, bro, the only thing that kept me going was my accomplishments. So who was I accomplishing these things for? And I had to battle that, and I had to really wrestle with like, man, none of that stuff matters, right? Like, just because I didn't post doesn't mean I wasn't doing work, and that was the biggest thing to me. It's like, I got more firework, and I wasn't posting. My lady has to tell me all the time, like, you need to show your work off. These niggas don't. Well, she doesn't say anything, because she's not black, but I'm very.
And how you translate that? Like, it's like, she's like, these people don't get it. And you're like,
let me stress that again, because she really she get on my case for saying nigga. She's like, don't say that, but I'm a nigga, so I'm gonna say it, nigga. But like,
I mean, he also was a part of all project called It Please, but
oh my god, that's accomplishments. But she's all like, you gotta like posted where people sleep, people this, that, like they don't know who. And I'm like, babe, yeah, but they never gonna be woke. You know what I'm saying? They never gonna be like, fuck them.
What was? I mean, and I would love to stay here for a second, not to make you embrace this thought or just to take you back, because I think it's a situation a lot of people find themselves in, especially in this creative world, because oftentimes your work, like, you don't get paid your value. You don't get, you oftentimes the things you want to do, you find yourself not able to because someone else is in that spot that's a key holder. And so you do use your work for validation a lot. You do find proof of concept in what others say about what you're doing, almost like, yo, I'm the man because they see me over here, they like this. So talk about like just facing that moment in yourself and, how'd you embrace it?
I think I had, like, it wasn't a choice whether to embrace it or not. I think it was, like, if I'm as dope as I think I am, not as they say I am, as I think I am, because I think I'm a lot grander than what people are speaking to.
That's a fact.
Then, and I know I haven't accomplished the things that I wanted to accomplish at the time that I was thinking these thoughts, then what is, I don't get paid off for validation. And maybe validation, it helps me get into the door, but when I stopped posting myself, it showed me that I didn't need that. So really, I was just tricking myself because, like I said, this is my, they say God made you in his image, and to me, that always spoke to me as like God is the ultimate creator.
Yeah.
So he made us to be creators. He made his creations to constantly create.
Yeah.
So if I'm just creating, then it doesn't. That's all that matters. The need to create and the feeling to create. And in my part, there was a moment that hit home. Like one of my homies, by the name of Edge, it's a super fire name, but we had this grand conversation. He was like, "Look, life is about totem pole. The thing that you put at the top of your totem pole is going to be how you look at the rest of your life. That's going to be the lens of how you do everything else. So if you value work, you value accomplishing these things. I know you're ambitious too. You value all these things. Whether you're great or not is going to be seen through your work. Like, you're going to put so much emphasis on your work, and we all know, like, the work that the people see, you sweat blood, tears for hours, and that's still not up to your standard. But that's what time had permitted for you to create. So you're constantly never going to be in a state of happiness. Like, what you need to put up there is God. If you put God first, nothing matters, right? I was like, bro, I'm not there yet. I'm not going to lie. That's my goal, to put God first, but I can put family first. Sure. So if my family was good, then nothing else needed to be met. Like, I could tend to nothing else and I'd be fine. Like, my nephews and nieces look up to me and was like, I love Uncle Laemy because Uncle Laemy makes me feel good. Like, I could do those fire covers. Like, my nephews don't even know the covers I did. And I tell them, like, oh, look at this shit I did. Like, I don't care.
You were toys. Like, where toys at?
It's not even toys. Like, well, my nephew, who's an amazing artist himself, like, he draws better than people I've seen. I can go on for days. Like, he's super talented, right? And it doesn't matter to him that I've done this for this artist, this for that artist. He's like, you just get to wake up and create? What? Like, that's what you do for a living? That's all I'm trying to do. And I was like, damn, you're right, bro. Like, it's those situations, bro. Like, I don't know. I feel like I really feel anointed because I constantly get put in situations where my faith is tested and I get the answers. So I never get put in a position for too long where it feels like I need to question why I am the way that I am, because like the answer comes and usually in the form of like, are you stupid or are you dumb? Like, God people really like, what you gonna do? You gonna move? You gonna move? Yeah, like, right. How many times do I gotta do? All right, this. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. So it'd be stupid for me to not listen, right? To not adhere to that.
That's funny.
So.
I was making sure that we was on a good part because one of our listeners tuned in right now. Someone that was closing, they sent a message. I'll make sure he's good. But speaking of, let's talk about. We talked everything nice, and there's been a constant thing that you brought up. And man, I just want to salute this union right now. I just want to salute, you and Monley. Like, talk about building not only a relationship, but a partnership. Because you guys work together. Because I'm sure there's times when she like, hey, I got this fire design, and you want to be like, that's not fire. Like, or she probably looking over your shoulder like, I want to use that color. Like, talk about just building with one another and how that actually went for you.
There was a large portion of time where we would make stuff and we wouldn't show it to one another.
Really?
Because you spoke exactly to that point. Like, for me, design, I've been knowing I wanted to be a designer, right? For her, she was just like, I want to help people. And design, photography, all these other things, these were ways to do so. Like, she's a really giving, serving person. She's like a very selfless person, right? So, for her in the beginning, she never wanted to design. I'd be like, yo, you have the eye for it.
Yeah.
She was like, that's you. I don't want it.
Yeah.
But I think what really made it like click, because like again, there were points in time where we would not show each other's work, or we wouldn't show each other's complete. Like, you weren't allowed to see what we were doing. I don't need to hear your critiques, and not only from her to me to her. Like, I really wanted to prove that I was dope to her. But I think as our relationship got stronger, and I say this to a lot of people, like a lot of people always like, oh, you guys look so great, you guys are so awesome. Like, her and I were toxic for a lot longer than we were nutritious. I can't stress that enough. She's my ride or die. This is my favorite person on this planet. Now, there was a point in time that we were each other's enemies, even though we were in a relationship with each other. But through us working on our relationship and going through hell and back for each other, it built a certain level of partnership where, like, I don't gotta look over my shoulder, she's right there. And the reason why we fight now is because, like, I'm going so hard for you, and you don't even see how hard I'm going for you. No, I'm going so hard for you, you don't see. And that relationship, I think, is what has allowed for us to work so good as partners now, because it ultimately comes down to, like, we constantly say this whenever we fight, like, we're on the same team. And it's just like that when we do that, oh shit, you're right, you're wrong.
The W was coming home here. Like, like, at the end of the day, you might have the last shot off, but the victory is in the locker room.
But that's a great thought, because the reason why I think it really works a lot is because I 100% don't want the glory. Like, I know I talk a lot of this shit, but like, you know me, I do not want to be known as that dude. I want it to be very hard to just access me, and I want the person to know about me to be an executive producer, someone who's drunk calling the show. But the every average person, I don't want them to really know about me.
So I just want y'all to realize that I know him. Alright, so I don't know what that means for me in my life, but just know that I know him until the number changes. Because he got a lot of great things going on. But just to that point, and I would like to take this in the direction of prior to that.
Let me just get that final thought. But she can be the light. She is the beacon light. She is a symbol of strength to a lot of women. A lot of people look up to her. A lot of people aspire to be like her, right? And that's why I think it works. Is for me, it's like, I'll beat shit. You be the face of this whole operation. Like, a lot of that district, most people don't know I'm even associated with it. Most people don't even know I design half the things that I do design. I was like, babe, you take it or run with it. And I think that's why it works, is I allow her to be the dope that she is. I don't want to take her on shot. The only way she gets better is the more assists I lock to her. So I just want her to be like Anthony Davis in the shot. She should win MVP, but like, if I do win it, that's fine. But when I get up there, I'm definitely like, it's my win all day.
Right. No, I like that, and for me, it's just a testament to how I've seen you guys move too, because and by the way, Marlon, you are coming on the show. Like, I hope like your availability is open up. We won't talk about that specifically, but more importantly, it's the selflessness of who she is as well. Because I've been around where, both of you, where you guys are just, for the people that you love, you're working up designs, throwing out ideas, you're adding to the pot. Like, and that creative voltage is kind of even what made me the person I am in this district, where I find myself like, yo, you know what? Take this idea, run with it. Not because of I think it's the greatest idea, but because if you find value in that and run with it, it means something. I say that because this show started with this. You know, the whole idea, the whole concept of the show started with this design that you did for me, just chilling in the studio one night. And I had a photo, and I was like, hey, I kind of want to do something like this. And you were like, yo, this got like a late night show feel. Like, all that came inspired from just you being just genuinely you in a space. And so I want to ask, for as you grow your network, like, what did you look for in people that you would network with or collaborate with?
First, I think you give me too much credit because, yeah, like at the end of the day, this whole thing is a manifestation of you. I was just lucky to be in that space to be able to add on to that. And even when I added on to that, like, again, this whole thing could not, sure, I may have sprinkled some crack rock on it, but nah, this is far greater than that. So I want to make sure I give you your roses, but as far as like who do I look to build with, I only build with family at this point. Like, I feel like, and that's not to say I'm closed off. A lot of people come into my circle, like our relationship is fairly new in the grand scheme of things, but you come in and you came in with just, yo, I'm here to just absorb. And if you're willing to absorb, you're around me, like, I'm willing to give, and that created a family. That created a situation where you can be in my immediate area. Like, you see me around, like, a lot of the people that are around are actual literal family. So.
And it's a deep thing, like, honestly, like, watch how you move in these streets. Don't.
So, to me, like, networking, it really is based off of a feeling, because, like, if you're in my corner, I'm giving you everything. I'm not giving you 10% of me. That's actually to my fault, but I can't help it. I'm gonna give you everything I can in that moment. You may not have access to me the whole month, but that one day of the month, nigga, you get everything.
Bring out the drones, like everything.
Everything. Come on, like everything. You're getting everything from me.
Nah, I love that, man. And something you said earlier that I genuinely been resonating with a lot lately. You speaking of, like, you know, God and, like, you know, made in His image. Like, I think that the times we tap into our creative nature is the time we tap into our godly DNA. And so that's, you talk about manifestation of the show, you know, this is just constant checking in on that DNA of how creative can we get, what hasn't been seen. Because again, creativity is the only time you take something that doesn't exist in the atmosphere and bring it to life. You take ideas and, you know, and that's the way that we kind of find ourselves today. So with that said, you know, I know that you said that you're not in a maybe space where God is the top of the totem pole here. But, you know, what is the spiritual journey like for you? Because I think as creatives, there has to be some sort of guide that I think we can look to.
That's a very good question. I don't think I have an answer to yet. But I think, to me, the spiritual journey feels like what you're saying, just tapping into your purpose. Because I feel like, I don't want to, because some people may not believe in God, but whatever force you do believe in, whatever higher power that you do believe in, it will respond to your actions, right? I feel like the more you push through something that you know you're not supposed to be doing, you're going to wrestle with guilt. You're going to feel it. You're going to feel uncomfortable doing something that you're not supposed to be doing. And the world will react in a way. It will introduce to you people who aren't good for your spirit. They will introduce leeches because at the end of the day, you're in a place where you're not supposed to be. And if you keep focusing your energy on like what feels right, what is being, I love the word nutrition, what is nurturing me, then I feel like that's my path to faith, because you know God doesn't give you what you can't handle, and if I'm constantly being nurtured by my path, and that is the path that God has set out for me, or laid out for me, rather.
No, I'm appreciative of that perspective, because I think it's something that people need to hear. Like, they don't know where to exactly start when it comes to a spiritual journey, because there of course are various religions, there of course are various studies, and there's various truths. But most importantly, it is a unique path. It is something that you have to check in with your own pendulum and your own self and see where you want to be.
Just how you forge a unique relationship between your brother, your sister, your friends. Every relationship that you have is a very unique relationship that only works the way that you and that person know how to make it work. I feel like that's how it works between you and God. Like, there isn't no one way, one like size fits all. You know how God responds to you, and if you don't, you're trying to learn it, but you also learn, well, I know how he responds to me when I do this because I saw this problem. So maybe I don't need to be doing this. I'll find something else, but it's constantly checking, like you said, checking in with yourself and checking in with your relationship. Am I doing everything in my power to nurture myself? Because if you nurture and love yourself, then I think you're nurturing and loving God.
That's good. No, that again, yo, you are for those who didn't know, I like, hey, I never heard this guy who's gonna cook fly. I mainly know a lot of these people. One, because he moves in silence. You like to be the silent assassin. But bigger than that, man, you're behind movements. And I think you're a great person because although you represent various brands, you also know how to get behind the brand and let it shine, like let it be a thing. Like you've taken the rich girl photos and like representing. I mean, like even just just as simple as this, like you're a man of the people. You rap product, you rap the merch, but bigger than that, you still remain yourself. And so in this just moment of gratitude for who you are, let me just ask. How can for that young creative who's looking to make a career in this design space, what are some things that you recommend them getting in line first to do so?
Identify the thing that you like. Because I feel like, my origin stories I came from Pokemon. Like, I love Pokemon. I'm a nerd. I identify the thing I like, and by doing that, I can identify the space that I wanted to occupy. The biggest thing with a lot of designers, they think they have to create these portfolios that are embodiments of all different types of work because they need to show how well-rounded they are. I met a liquid motion designer. Do you know what that means? All he does is design liquid assets. He gets paid, I think it was like, his day rate was like $2,000 a day. So they hired him for 6 months out of the year and he just took the rest of the 6 months to get whatever he wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, he decided that I wanted to do this one thing particularly well, and no one, I couldn't tell you that, he was going to be a liquid motion design. Like, that shit don't make no damn sense, right? So I think it's really about, like, once you identify what you love, you know what you could do to make that thing better. So once you can identify what you can do to make that thing better, you just go out and try to fill that space.
Damn, that's good. I like that for myself. Like, I don't care what y'all do. I'm taking that my motivation. So I understand that y'all want to see a whole production studio also, but that's down the line. And in terms even as with Lilac District, like that's more like design, freelance client work. Like what goes into that process? Because even that down to as simple as setting your value and holding those grounds. Like how do you find ways to establish your value as you're building this rapport?
To have an amazing partner, Motlin. I lie to you now. Like, if it were up to me, I'd undercharge a million times because I'm too giving of a person. She helps me understand that, like, my guy, you can't expend, like, you're the foundation to our marriage, so you need to be attacked. Like, you're our leader, so you need to make sure you're on the one, so you need to be properly pricing and all that stuff. But, like, when you ask what goes into the Lilac District, let me help identify what the Lilac District is. Because on the face, it looks like just, it looks like an agency or a freelancing pop for like my fiance and I, but it's a lot grander than that because she comes from a background that's not a design background, right? She's an artist that just grew into designing and photography. And though I found designing early, there were not that many programs that can help someone who's like me. Like, I was a very self-driven person, but there's a lot of people who are much more talented than me don't have the right brother who was pushing them or the right cousin who was pushing them. And we want to build the Lilac District into a nonprofit agency that focuses on bringing high school and maybe college kids, but to my eyes, it's mainly high school kids and bringing them into a real agency experience. So the idea would be that, Lynn and I have acquired all these different myriad of clients. And when a client needs some, like, yo, I need branding for this campaign, we're like, all right, cool. We'll be the art directors and the creative directors for this campaign. But then we put those high schoolers in a real live situation that they will learn about how to properly budget. They will learn how to properly time manage. They will learn all the things that goes into being a successful artistic creative and through real practice. Because that campaign will be a real campaign. And nothing gives you more confidence than seeing your artwork in the world. So that's the goal for the Lilac District.
No, that's fire. And I think that even more so, just that let's not wait till we're on the top of the mountain to get that, right? Like, and it's a part of you. It's in your spirit to give enough so where Mom has to step in and say, hey, he done. The next is going to charge. Like,
yeah.
You know, and fortunately for you, you found a partner that can do that, professionally and personally.
Right.
You know, because I think that's a hard ask of anyone, and to be able to find it both, I think is amazing and definitely goals. But you know, bigger than that, you care along the way, and so where do you feel like within the next? Because I know that this year has been a unique one. Has this year and this cocoon time period of quarantine really kind of evolve these thoughts, and which you're like 3 years from now, this is kind of what I see, or how do you look at this field coming up?
I like to think that this cocoon really was a blessing for us. I know it's an unfortunate circumstance for a lot of people, and I don't want to speak on that lightly, but it allowed us to sit and really focus on like what's important, what are we trying to accomplish. We're in the best state that we've ever been financially. We're in the best state that we're going towards our marriage. Like, a lot of us are in sync. A lot of her and I are in sync right now. And because we're in sync, it's allowed us to kind of look at the future as an open-ended book. Like, it can be whatever we want it to be because we built the foundation now. So if we want to take risks, we're in the perfect position to do so. Like, even the way we operate our finances is very much based off of like, yo, one of us can be as risk-taking as necessary, the other one's gonna make sure that our bare bones are taken care of. So we operate with that sense of liberty now so that the future always remains full of options.
Look, see, we're at the point in the show where I realize that we are hitting the hour on all platforms, but there is one question that I always make sure to check in with everyone. Before I do that, man, first, I just want to say again, thank you, brother. Thank you for coming out. Like, you know, literally when I was like, yo, as soon as I get physical space, I need you here. You're like, all right, bro, give me some time, and you follow through because that's the type of person that you are. And I just want you to know that I appreciate, you know, you welcoming me into your family and time, whether it was a kickback and an actual cookout happening or an event that you were putting together. You know, you never shied away from an invite and being just hospitable to me. So I appreciate that, being someone that's not from this area. Because you definitely help me feel like I can move around here and be comfortable. So I appreciate that. Secondly, don't leave it. No, but secondly, please, like, let us know, like, how can we support what you're doing? What do you have coming up? Before I ask this final question.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to roll this over a little bit longer because I gotta give you more roses, bro. Because like, you know, you came into the fold very much in a situation of like, yo, how can I be of service? Even to the point that you know, Nouvelle's an artist that we both work with. You went out and got one of his songs, mixed it, mastered, and saw it through. Like, bro, I want to just give you all the love right now while I can, because you took an idea and you went and spread it. Like, you went to the people that you trusted and like, here's the idea that I saw. You got a lot of pushback. Even though I was one of the people that pushed back on it, and you're like, cool, I'll receive all that. But this is still happening, and like I was saying to you earlier, I know this is kind of like a rehash to you, but like through COVID, through everything, you were like, no, I'm going to manifest this, until a point that you've gotten people interested in partnering with you that allow you to have a physical space. And this is just the beginning. And to me, even if it doesn't go any further than this, the fact of the matter that you were able to create this came from your brain, shows to people that this is, you have limitless power. Like, you saw this and therefore you created this, you went out and grabbed it, you didn't wait on it. And, you know, a lot of, myself included, I often get caught in trying to perfect ideas, but you allow to run and roll with ideas. Like, the hiccups come, I learn from it. And it's something that I lack, because a lot of times I need to be a perfectionist, and I'm not saying that you're not, but the fact that you're able to get outside your head to actually produce is something that a lot of people don't have, and I have to commend you 1,000 times over, because this space is amazing, bro. Like, I can't be more proud. Like, I don't really tune in on the show, but I'm going to support. Like, this is the best late night morning show that I've ever known, because like, I've never seen someone creative from the ground up, and to see you doing it, it excites me. Like, I feel like you should be the one getting interviewed, but that's a situation for another time.
I appreciate that.
But I'll give you support. I'm going to follow the Lilac District on Instagram, on all those socials. Follow along there. Don't need to follow me.
All inquiries go to the household manager.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, man, and the question that I asked you, you touched upon it a little bit. But the one thing that I always ask, because I think this show, for creatives, the idea is creating change, generational wealth, whatever it may be. So the question is just, what does legacy mean for you?
Legacy is being immortalized. Like, I feel like what legacy means is just being able to be the change that you, being the edit. I feel like that's the best way I can phrase it, right? Like, you see a dope ass image, and if you're able to edit that image and then make that image enhance that much more because of the way you edited it, that's legacy. And it's going to be carried on by the people who are able to receive that. Because at the end of the day, my great grandkids might not remember who I was. They might not even know my name. Darisme might not even be a thing that's being passed on through my chain. And if Lord willing, I can advocate, right? But I know that the things that I'm doing right now inspire someone else to do things in their image, and that's going to continue to inspire people to do things in their image, and therefore my legacy is already cemented.
That had been the most designer way of describing legacy, but I rock with it 1,000%. So I just want to say again, thank you for coming on. I like the edits. I like that because it gives everyone a chance to make an impact, as opposed to thinking on a grander level that, oh no, my name was never in light. So I appreciate that. I hope you guys took everything that I did away from this interview. My guy Lay, I just can't thank this brother enough. But here's what we're going to do, because I know you guys have been waiting. We're going to tap in checking on Chris to see what he's cooked up for us. I think he got a whole production for us. Let's see what we got. Alright, so look. That's gonna rock. Hey, I see you in your groove. I see you in your bag, bro. Just know I'm coming to New York real soon. And I'm gonna hear all the tunes in person. But with that said, man, thank you again to everyone for tuning in tonight. Good morning to all my creators out there. We are checking out for the day. My guy is gonna get back to his happy home. I'm gonna go try to get my happy home, and we gonna keep pushing. With that said, stay cooking.